Hey everyone, thank you so much for being here today. My name is Denise. I'm also known as heywigsister on Instagram and Facebook. Today I'm here to bring you a wig review. I have for you Estetica Reeves, and I have Reeves in three colors. So if you would like to know more about the style and see three different ones compared side by side so I can show you what some of the differences that I'm observing are, then stick around for the rest of this video and let's talk about Reeves. All right, guys, I love it when I have an opportunity to show you multiples of a wig. There are so many variations that can exist from wig to wig that seeing just one wig isn't always a good representation of a style. And I think if you've been around wearing wigs for a little while and you've tried multiples of the same style, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Or if you've watched reviews and then you've gone and purchased a wig and it doesn't look like the reviewer's wig, you know what I'm talking about. So in this video, we are going to talk all about the style Reeves by Estetica, and I have Reeves in let me give you the three colors. R14 26H. I have the color R30 2826. And I have the color ROM6240 RT4. That one's a mouthful. So I'll be, this isn't a color spotlight because I'm showing you three different wigs. It's going to be very hard for me to go in depth on the colors. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to film a color spotlight on one of these colors I don't have at all. One of them I already have a video in a different style. So I will direct you to that one to look at the color. I'll put the link in the description. And then the other one I actually have talked about in a previous video. And so I'll link that, and I'll go back and look at it. And if I don't feel that that gave you a good enough sense of this color, then I will do another color spotlight. But I don't want to waste your time with a bunch of things that I already have out there. So I will direct you toward other videos for color specifically, although you will see the colors in this video. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw on one of these and we're going to talk about the style, and I will show you the cap and we'll talk about all the features. Then I'm going to show you the differences that I have observed in these three pieces. So the first one I'm going to put on for you is R30 2826. This one I have reviewed the color. I had Estetica Lachlan in this color. So I did a color spotlight for you on that a little bit. I did go outside. I showed you the color. I love this color. I think it's a gorgeous color. My preference is this color in a rooted version of it. This one is not the rooted version, and I didn't have Lachlan in the rooted version, but I do have a review of Estetica Ocean in the rooted version of this color, so you'll be able to go out there and see that color if you're curious about it. All right, let's talk about Reeves. Reeves is a mid-length, mid to long style. You can see that right here. Not super, super long, but definitely below shoulder level. Reeves has a kind of a curly, wavy profile on the bottom. Reeves has a basic cap, so there's no lace front, no monofilament, just a basic cap. And Reeves has a fair amount of permatease. Let me show you what this one looks like from all sides. And hopefully the back isn't too messy as I obviously just put her on. It's a really, really pretty head of hair, really pretty piece. This, like I said, does have permatease. There is actually quite a lot of permatease in the style, all on the sides and in the back, sort of all around here. There is a lot of pillowy permatease. There is also quite a bit of permatease up here, but I would say it feels like the bulk of it is kind of on the sides. So for those of you who are super concerned about permatease, either you dislike it or you really need it to make a style work, this one has a good amount of permatease. So you're either going to love it or you're going to hate it. There is quite a bit. I would compare this style to Orchid by Estetica. So Orchid has a really similar profile, longer, wavy on the bottom, a little bit of a fringe. This has some fringe. It's not a full-on bang, but it definitely has face framing layers. The difference is Orchid has a deep lace front. So you get a lace front that's fairly deep, sort of like on Ocean if you're familiar with Ocean. So there isn't a monofilament, but because of the deep lace, it actually kind of mimics a part a little bit. So I would say if you really love this style, but you just can't really bring yourself to wear a basic cap wig, you prefer one with some cap features, then take a look at Orchid. I have a review of Orchid, so you can go check out my review. My Orchid has seen better days, and I started to trim the ends a little bit, so I'm not going to do a comparison. It wouldn't be a fair comparison. But just note that this is similar to Orchid, and I think I've seen other reviewers say that as well. What else can I tell you about this before I switch it out? Like I said, it has a bit of a fringe, and you can absolutely cut a full bang in this one. It really wouldn't take much. The template is built for you. You just need to take a little bit in the front, and you've got yourself a full bang. I do think it's probably too long for most people to have it be a full bang without taking a scissors to it, unless you've got a really kind of long measurement right here. And so look in the description. I can't remember. I think mine is 3 inches. Go ahead and look in the description and see what my measurements are so that you can get a sense of where this piece will fall on you. The coverage is really good. So I get really excellent coverage on this one. The ear tabs fall exactly where I like them to fall for good coverage, which is in front of and a little bit below the top of my earlobe. It doesn't rest on my ears at all. I always say that Estetica caps run just a little bit generous, and I think that is true for these. I can cinch them in a little bit. I get extra cap up here, not so much that it gives me an odd shaped kind of cone head, which can sometimes happen with caps that are too big. It just gives a lot of extra room. They have really good stretch. So if you are an average large, I think Estetica is a brand you could look at. Now, also kind of keep in mind, there are variations, and it is just part of the wig journey. And so you may get a cap that feels snug on you, and then you may get another one and the cap feels loose on you. That is very common, and I've seen it in all brands. So keep that in mind as well. I would say in general, Estetica caps run a little generously sized. And I think you will also see that kind of across the board when you watch reviews. Now, I'm going to put on another one of these. And some of the things I'd like to tell you I see as differences. I see a difference in the curl pattern. This one is a loose wave, not really curly. The next one I'm going to put on has a much more pronounced curl pattern, a much tighter curl pattern. I will also point you toward the bangs. They do vary slightly from piece to piece. And I will also point you to the permatease. So because this is a basic cap, I think with all basic cap wigs, you run the risk of being able to see visible permatease. You don't always see it, but I think it's always a slight risk with a basic cap wig. With this style, I have found that the 2 unrooted pieces that I have, you can see a little bit of it, visible permatease. The rooted piece you can. So let's take a look at this one. It's not rooted, and you can see a little bit of that permatease there. It is not extreme at all, but it is definitely a little bit of visible permatease. To combat visible permatease, you definitely want to get in to the cap at the permatease, wake that permatease up. You might use a wide tooth comb, you might do some different things, but you want to sort of lift those fibers up off the cap so that they disguise that permatease. So that is one tactic that you can use to help disguise permatease. It does settle over time, so the more you wear the wig, the less you'll see some of that, and the permatease will be less poofy. All right, so let me put on the rooted color. This one is the color ROM6240 6240 RT4. I want to give you guys, I'm keeping my laptop up over here because I'm going to be reading something to you. I want you guys to be aware of a resource that I have on my website. So my website is heywigsister.com, and I have a post out there that talks about color. And in that post, I have 2 documents linked. One's a Word document, one's an Excel document. One is a brand color list, and one is a color index. The difference between the two and how I think they will really help your wig journey is the color index breaks down all the different color codes that I've been able to find out there. Now, in the case of a wig like this, they take some license with colors. So they've got 6240. Well, I don't have a 62. I don't have a 40. I don't have a 6240 on there. So that's when it becomes a little tricky to determine color, but you can get a basic sense of color on there. And then on the brand color list, I have, and again, this is ever evolving as I find new colors or wigs come out with different colors, but it also has the explanations for some of the colors. So where the 6240, let me get to that for you. So this is, the ROM stands for ombre. So any of the Estetica colors that have ROM, it's more kind of an ombre. It's a unique take on the blending of the color. So what this says here under that is golden brown. It says it's a golden brown base with subtle graduation to copper blonde. That's how they describe this color. It is a beautiful color. The root is very dark compared to the rest of the color. So the root is a 4. A 4 is a very dark brown. So this is an extremely dark root. That works great for me. I have dark hair naturally. I love the dark roots. So that works great for me. Some of you are not going to appreciate the root because it is quite dark. So let's get this one on and situated. And so right off the bat, I want to point out the curl on this one. Much curlier than the other one that I had on. It is, again, one of those variations. Let me make sure she looks good, and then I'll give you a spin. Variations, it's just the name of the game with wigs. Something else I noticed with this one, and even more pronounced with the third one I'm going to show you, is the density. So in this third one, which I'll put on, I felt right off the bat like it was a lot lighter weight than the first one. So the first one I even tried was the first one I showed you. So I weighed them. They weighed about a ½ ounce different. The R30 2826, this auburn one, was a little over 5 ounces, and this one was about 4.5 ounces, and this one was about 4.9 ounces. So there is some variation, and it really shows up in the 2 that are on the extreme ends of those weights. And I'll show that too, and I'll point it out when I put the other one on. So I do want to mention, again, the curl pattern on this one. I'd say the bangs on this one are real similar to the first one. And look at that root. You cannot see permatease. So that is one of my tips for you. If you're going to purchase basic cap wigs and you think there's a risk of being able to see permatease, get it in a rooted color. I have seen this across the board. It is not just an Estetica thing. If you get a rooted wig in a basic cap, you have a better chance of not being able to see any of that permatease if it has a potential of being visible. So rooted wigs are great for basic cap. I think it hides a myriad of flaws, and so it can be really, really helpful. I will give you another tip if you can't do rooted wigs with the other color. So stay tuned for that. I'll give you another kind of hack, if you will, to dealing with that. So really cute. Honestly, these are super cute. Of the 2 that I've had on, I love this color, and I like the kind of the I don't know how to, the bottom on this looks a little straggly because there's just a slight difference in density on the bottom. I really like the density of the other one on the bottom. The rest of the density feels the same. The amount of permatease feels exactly the same. All right, here's the last one. So this one is in the color R1426H. Now, I think I have an Estetica, I know I have an Estetica Blondes comparison, and I compared I have a couple of Estetica Blonde comparison videos, and I believe I used this one in one of those. So if I'm remembering that correctly and it's this exact color, I will link that in the description. There's so many things I want to point out about this one, this particular piece, that are different. First of all, this one feels longer than the other two, and the way this one is a lot more relaxed, I think, even than the first one. That's a big difference that I noticed. Number two, the bangs. This one has unruly bangs that don't want to lay very well, and they're longer because they're straighter. I think they're just straighter and they lay flatter. I have struggled with these bangs to get them to lay to the side. So I'm going to make a Tip Tuesday video using this wig, and I'm going to show you how you can take a hot airbrush and water to train bangs if you're struggling with them. So stay tuned for that. I will be showing that with this wig. So this is another where there is no rooting. And here's another challenge with this one. Not only can you see a little bit of visible permatease, if you look close enough, you can actually see the wefting. Sort of right here. It's tough to see. I don't think anybody's going to be looking that closely at your scalp, even if you have a job where you're sitting lower and they're looking a little bit at the top of your head. But I want to point that out. And the reason I want to point that out is because I don't think this would be considered a defect. I really think this is just kind of one of the challenges you get with a wig that is has no cap features. And so what do you do if you get a wig like this? Well, you can always return. That's always the option. You have an option to return, but it's not your only option. So let me show you this one from all sides, and then let me give you a little hack on how you can deal with that. It is a really adorable piece for sure. All right, what's the hack? Well, I think if you have some fibers, so these are hair fibers, they're used often to disguise your scalp when your hair is thinning. This is Boost and Blend brand, which I actually have a Small Business Saturday video on this brand, but you can use Topic powder. There is Thin Hair Thick, I think is one I've seen Amber from Fabricating Fringe talk about. So there's multiple fibers out there. These are good for more than just hiding your scalp though. These can help you with wigs that you're struggling with. So number one, this could be a gentle rooting on your wig. So let's say you got this because number one, you couldn't do rooting, or they didn't have it in the rooted version. You could take the fibers, I'm going to demonstrate it for you, and you could shake some fibers on the rooting. What that's going to do on the part here, that's going to give a slight effect of rooting, not as dark as if it were rooted. It's also going to serve to hide the permatease a little bit, and if you can see visible wefting on a wig, it will hide that visible wefting. So let's put a little bit on here. Can you hear that? It's got like little rice or something in it to keep it flowing. See how that's just a subtle amount? Now, you know, I could do a little bit more. I would probably do just a little bit more, but that gives you a sense. And so you just keep adding it on there until you're confident that you've covered up whatever it is that you're looking to cover up. I have done this with wigs before. This is not my first time. It works really great, and these come in so many different colors. The color I'm using right now is dusky dark brown, but they've got a light brown, they've got a blonde, there's tons of different colors. So if you're not familiar with Boost and Blend, you can go and watch that Small Business Saturday video that I did. That can work great. You can wear headbands. So let me grab a headband for you guys. And if you were to grab, so let's say you got a wig and you could see that rooting. and it was bothersome to you, or the permatease, I should say, or you could see a little bit of wefting. If you just took a little bit of a headband, you can use one of these, which I've shown in many videos. I just love these headbands. Or you could take a cloth headband, you could take a bandana and tie it around. I mean, there's so many different things that you can do. But if you just kind of stick the headband on, and then you just keep, you know, arranging however you need to do to make the wig look good. You know, you can pull more hair back. Because it doesn't have a lace front, I want to be careful what I do with this front so that I'm not pulling it up and showing that it's a wig. But something like that is super cute, super easy. And now I've really just hidden any of those issues on the part. So why would you want to deal with a wig that has visible something that you don't like on the wig? Well, I think there's lots of reasons why that might happen. Budget is one of them. You know, if you can't really afford a wig with lots of great cap features and you're limited in your budget, you may be stuck buying some basic cap wigs, even though that's not your preference. So finding a way to disguise the parts of a basic cap wig that you don't like, that's going to be critical for you. So headbands, fibers, styling techniques, lots of things will help. Another thing might be that you just have a wig that's starting to get old and be a little worse for wear. And so, but you either can't afford another one or you just love it and you don't want to get rid of it yet. Styling, headbands, fibers, things like that can really, really help. Maybe you purchased a wig on clearance and it has things that's going on that you don't appreciate, but you can't return it because it was a clearance piece and it's not considered defective. Well, again, having techniques like this are really going to help you to overcome some of those challenges. And inevitably, I think every wig sister is going to experience some sort of challenge in their wig wearing journey. It is just sort of part of the journey. So I wanted to give you that kind of those ideas, but I wanted to show you 3 pieces. We do have some wig sisters to thank for this video. I had all 3 of these pieces were donated to me so that I could do some education, possibly for giveaways. Lots of people donate wigs to me for lots and lots of reasons. And sometimes they're just giveaway wigs. Sometimes I use them for education to help me teach. This is going to be a teaching wig so I can show you how to deal with those bangs. It was a teaching wig so I could show you how to deal with the visible permatease and the wefting. So I'm so grateful when wig sisters are generous with their wigs, and that allows me to bring you more content. So I just want to put that out there. All right, you guys, so that's it for this video. That was Reeves. I think Reeves is really cute. Who is Reeves for? Someone who likes longer wigs, someone who likes permatease and likes, some poofiness on a wig, someone who doesn't need to have the lace front and the monofilament. A lot of people don't even like those. Some people find lace fronts really itchy. So those are all reasons why I think someone would love Reeves. Reeves is also one that you could wear with a hat. I don't have a hat in here with me, but as I'm filming this, it's October and we're getting into the winter months. You may spend a lot of time outside doing a variety of things. A wig like this is so great with a hat. You know, I think it's worthy of me even grabbing one. So I'm going to pause this. I'm going to get a hat. All right, so let's throw a hat on so I can show you what I mean. Because honestly, you might not want to spend a ton of money on a wig with a bunch of cap features if you're going to designate it as a hat wig. So either you use an old wig or you purchase a basic cap wig so that you can wear it with a hat. I got 2 hats, just in case one didn't look as good as the other. Let me find the seam on this one. So there you go. A bunch of reasons why you might buy a basic cap wig or be stuck with a wig that has some features that aren't your favorite, but you can find other things to do with them. So if you find a Reeves on clearance, if you find a wig sister selling a Reeves at a great price, and you're not sure if you're going to like the basic cap, you'll have a hat wig. How great is that? All right, guys, that's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for being here. Let me know if you have questions. Please let me know if this was helpful. Do you like seeing these comparison videos? Because they do take a little longer, but I do think they can give you some worthy and valuable information. Stay tuned for some of the spin-off videos that are going to come from this one. And I thank my wig sisters for their generosity for sending me these. I love you guys. I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.